The day of the wedding dawned bright and clear, the sun casting its golden rays upon the palace courtyard, where the ceremony would take place. Dressed in robes of shimmering silk and adorned with jewels that sparkled like stars against the night sky, Nkechi stood before the assembled courtiers and dignitaries, her heart heavy with uncertainty. And the king approached her, his hands outstretched in a gesture of camaraderie and respect. Nkechi forced a smile upon her lips, masking the turmoil that churned within her breast. With each step she took towards him, she felt as though she was moving further and further away from the life she had once known, towards a future that was shrouded in uncertainty. Once upon a time, in the heart of Calabar, a bustling trading hub nestled along the banks of the Cross River, lived a maiden named Nkechi, with skin the color of rich mahogany and eyes sparkled like the river under the noonday sun. She was the pride of her village, a beacon of beauty, grace, and kindness. From a young age, Nkechi had been raised with love and care by her parents, who instilled in her a deep reverence for tradition and a fierce independence that belied her tender years. As she grew into womanhood, she earned a reputation for her wit and intelligence, captivating all who crossed her path with her smile and infectious laughter. But beneath her outward charm lay a longing that Nkechi dared not speak aloud, a yearning for adventure, for a life beyond the confines of her small village, where she could chart her own course and follow the whisper of her heart wherever they may lead. One fateful day, as Nkechi made her way to the market to sell her family wares, she caught the eye of a passing nobleman, a messenger from a distant kingdom, sent by his king to seek a bride worthy of his royal lineage. Mesmerized by Nkechi's beauty and grace, the nobleman returned to his king's court with tales of the maiden who had captured his heart. Intrigued by the descriptions of Nkechi's beauty and character, the king of the distant kingdom sent emissaries to Calabar, bearing gifts of gold and silk as tokens of his affection. They arrived at Nkechi's village, their presence heralded by the sound of drums and the joyful shouts of the villagers. As Nkechi listened to the emissary's proposal, her heart was torn between duty and desire. On one hand, she felt a sense of obligation to her family and community. To accept the king's offer would bring honor and prosperity to her loved ones. But on the other hand, she longed for a love that was true and genuine, a love that transcended the boundaries of status and tradition. In the quiet moments, she stole away to the riverbank. Nkechi sought solace in the gentle lapping of the water against the shore, searching for guidance amidst the whispers of the wind and the rustling of the palm fronds overhead. There, beneath the watchful gaze of the ancestors, she wrestled with the weight of her decision, knowing that whatever choice she made would shape the course of her life forever. In the end, it was Nkechi's sense of duty that led her to accept the king's proposal. Despite the ache in her heart and the lingering doubts that plagued her thoughts, with tears in her eyes and a heavy heart, she bid farewell to her family and her village, setting out on a journey to the distant kingdom where her fate awaited her. As the caravan wound its way through the dense jungle and across the sun-scorched savannah, Nkechi found herself lost in memories of her homeland. The vibrant colors of the markets, the laughter of children playing in the streets, the sweet scent of the flowers that bloomed along the riverbank. Finally, after many days of travel, Nkechi arrived at the king's court, where she was greeted with great pomp and ceremony. The king himself welcomed her with open arms, his eyes alight with anticipation as he beheld the maiden who would soon become his wife. But despite the lavish surroundings and the opulence of her new surrounding, Nkechi could not shake the feeling of unease that gnawed at her soul. Surrounded by strangers who spoke a language she did not understand and customs that felt foreign and unfamiliar, she longed for the familiar comforts of home and the reassuring presence of her loved ones. As preparations for the wedding began in earnest, Nkechi found herself swept in a whirlwind of activity, her days filled with fittings and feasts, an endless ceremony in honor of her impending nuptials. Yet, amidst the splendor of the royal court, she could not shake the sense of loneliness that weighed heavily upon her heart. On the eve of her wedding, she was gazed out from the balcony of her chambers at the glittering expanse of the kingdom spread out before her. Nkechi felt a tears slip silently down her cheek. Though she knew that she was fulfilling her duty as a daughter of Calabar, she could not help but wonder if true happiness would ever be within her grasp. The day of the wedding dawned bright and clear, the sun casting its golden rays upon the palace courtyard where the ceremony would take place. Dressed in robes of shimmering silk and adorned with jewels that sparkled like stars against the night sky, Nkechi stood before the assembled courtiers and dignitaries, her heart heavy with uncertainty. As the king approached her, with his hands outstretched in a gesture of camaraderie and respect, Nkechi forced a smile upon her lips, masking the turmoil that churned within her breast. With each step she took towards him, she felt as though she was moving further and further away from the life she once knew, towards a future that was shrouded in uncertainty. As the wedding ceremony drew to a close, Nkechi was escorted to her chambers, where she would spend her first night as a queen. With a heavy heart, she prepared herself for bed, her mind filled with thoughts of the family and the homeland she had left behind. But as she lay upon the sumptuous silk sheets, bathed in the soft glow of candlelight, Nkechi felt a strange sense of calm over her. Though the path that lay ahead was fraught with challenges and uncertainty, she knew that she was not alone, that the spirits of her ancestors walked beside her, guiding her steps and lighting her way through the darkness. As she closed her eyes and drifted off to sleep, Nkechi whispered a silent prayer of gratitude, for the strength and resilience that has carried her thus far. As for the hope that burned bright within her heart, a hope that one day, against all odds, she would find the love and the happiness she so desperately sought.